Archangel Michael warns someone is stopping your miracle. Don't skip this message because what you don't know could be keeping you from what's meant for you. Pay attention. Chosen one. You didn't just happen to hear these words. The finger wasn't just slid across the screen. No, there were a lot of other things that could have caught your eye right now, but didn't. No matter what brought you here, please stay for one more minute. Not everyone will like what I'm about to say. It's meant for one person at this very moment in their life. And I really think that person is you. The first thing you need to understand is this. Let's be clear on this before we go any further. It doesn't matter if you get this message a few days before today, in the morning of today, or even after today has passed. There is no set date for the truth I'm about to tell you. You have it inside you. Today is just a sign. For years, the real story has been going on under your skin. Many people feel something at the end of the week that they can't quite put their finger on. A quiet sense of dread. Not crazy or loud, just a low rumble that says, "Here we go again." I'm pretty much the same as I was 7 days ago after another week. It's been called stress, burnout, and a tough time by different people. It's the sound of your life moving forward without you in charge. That's what it is. It's like your days are like a car with the engine running, but you're just a passenger taking in the view and wondering when and to whom you took the wheel. Also, I want to tell you something about that feeling that no one else. Thus, it's not a verdict. This does not mean you are failing. It's a sign. A sign that points to something real that took a very long time to happen to you. And you can understand signals. That's what the next part of this will be about. We are going to figure out what the signal means. Right now, you are on the edge of two very different lives. On the one hand, there's a part of you that waits week after week for disappointment and knows your plans better than you do. This version has grown used to the bracing so much that it now feels like being wise, grown up, or just realistic. After crossing that edge, you'll be able to finally understand what was taken, know what it's called, and know how to begin getting it back. The most important thing is that the life you choose doesn't depend on today at all. This message could hurt you if you let it in the next few minutes when you're not as careful. This is what I think the Spirit wants me to say to you. It's not a suggestion or a lecture either. Do not brace. Only 2 words. Not don't try. Not don't pray. Do not give up hoping for more. Just stop bracing for the hit you were taught to expect. Because somewhere along the way, the bracing turned out to be what was holding you back. The way those 2 words make you feel is more important than the words themselves. So, please pay close attention. You are not being warned is against you. It's you being warned. There is a big difference between them. I'm not here to tell you that you're behind schedule, that time is running out, or that you should feel bad about where you are. Something has been working against your mind in the background for most of your life, and no one has ever told you what it is. This message is sad, but not because of you. It's sadness over what was taken from you while you were blaming yourself. But they're not the same. Being able to tell them apart could be the most freeing thing you do this year. Now, let me tell you what today means to you. The end of the week is just that for most people. Things to do, bills to pay, and a slow breath out before 2 days of rest. But you're not like most people. You've known that since you were a child, even though you couldn't tell anyone. For someone with a calling they can't quite see yet, every end is a way in. Every day is a small step toward a bigger change that's on the way. And whatever has been stopping you from becoming the person you were meant to be knows this rhythm better than you do. It knows that endings leave you open to harm. It knows that at the end of the week when your guard is down, old judgments are most likely to come out. I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to give you fear that looks like wisdom. Let me say it again as clearly as I can. There isn't a dark figure on a red ink calendar circling your death. That's not what this is. This is a pattern. Things have been going in the same way for so long and so smoothly that it feels like your destiny. And a pattern that makes you feel like bad luck is much more dangerous than a single bad day because you give up when you think something is set in stone. You stop questioning things that you think are a part of who you are. You accept a limit that was never really yours. It's pretty scary that you call that peace being mature. There wasn't a monster under the bed. There was just a ceiling you stopped trying to reach. Let me explain this pattern piece by piece. And you tell me in your own heart if it sounds familiar. Sometimes it seems like your mind is moving more slowly than usual. It's like you reach for a word and it's not there. Then it shows up an hour later, but it doesn't help since the conversation is over. When you walk into a room, you forget why you went there. Even after reading the same sentence 3 times, it just slips away like water off of a glass. And forgetting isn't the worst part. Pay attention to this. You tell yourself that you forget things because you're getting older, which is the worst part. That you're not as sharp as you used to be, that you might not have been as smart, talented, or unique as you thought you were when you were young and the world seemed big. That story is not true. So, I want to stop you right there. And it's a lie that serves a very clear purpose. As long as you think this mental fog is who you are now, you won't try to figure out what's making it happen. You'll be busy taking care of the symptom and never get to the root of the problem. For years, you'll treat the smoke, but never go near the fire. There's also a heavier layer below the first one. It's not just your mind that seems dull. It's more of a feeling that life is happening to you than through you. That you're always responding and never really making your own way. One woman said it was like being at the window of her own life and watching it go by on the street below, but she couldn't find the door that would let her back in. After reading that sentence, you know that this message didn't just happen to reach you. There's a third layer that is even less loud. It shows up in the things you love most about your life. Slowly, the talks you have with the people closest to you are only about plans and nothing else. Work you used to care about now just seems like something you walk through without stopping. The dreams you used to tell everyone about, but now you keep to yourself because calling them out felt like setting yourself up to be let down again. There's one more layer, and it might be the most lonely one. The thought that you're standing still while everyone else seems to be moving forward, that somewhere along the way, you missed the instructions that everyone else got. You see them make quick choices, speak up without fear, and stick to the plans you keep quietly giving up on. What's wrong with the way I'm put together? You ask yourself, we have now given the signal a name for all of its parts. It's foggy, moving slowly, and you feel like a passenger. Things that used to be colorful now look flat. It's lonely to watch other people move while you wait. There are a lot of messages that would end here and tell you to think more positively. I'm not going to call you names like that because good thoughts can't fix something that people can't see. You're not having a thinking problem at all with what's going on. It goes much deeper than your thoughts below the level where willpower and discipline live and die. Even though you've tried for years, you can't outthink it or shame yourself out of it. Before this message ends, I want to say something over your life that I think will last longer than today and every day after that. But first, you need to know what was taken from you, how it happened, and when it started. You haven't been back to that place in a long time. Let me take you back to when you were a child. Not the hard parts, but the other part. The part that most people hide because it hurts to think about how bright it was. There was a time when your mind was like a blank canvas with no edges. You could spend 4 hours making something out of nothing and think it was the best afternoon of your life. You asked so many questions that no adult could keep up with them. That's right. You learn new things on your own, not because someone told you to. It wasn't a chore to learn. It was a hunger. Please understand that this child was not a different person who has since died. This kid was you running fast before anyone taught you how to run slowly. There were lights on everywhere. It was bright in every part of your mind and you thought it would stay that way. Like a child thinks the sun will always rise because it always does. Researchers who study kids love to talk about a bunch of research. I'm going to tell you about it the way the researchers do, not the way I think it is. Kids as young as a few years old did very well on tests that measure the kind of open, original, and limitless thinking that we call creative genius. After a few years, they tested the same kids again, and the number had dropped very quickly. As adults, only a very small number of those kids still had scores that were close to where they started. That's the most important thing you need to think about right now. It's not like the ability went away. It was gone from the person. The same mind got weaker. It wasn't broken or gone. It just got darker. Not why am I not as sharp as I was anymore. The real question is what happens to a human being during the long journey between the open field of childhood and the narrow hallway of adult life that turns the lights down one room at a time until the house you live in is mostly dark and you've forgotten it was ever any different. The real answer isn't age either. This isn't lost when kids get taller or their hair turns gray. What they went through as kids makes them lose it. You can't forget what it was made of once you see it. Telling someone to sit still when they wanted to move, be quiet when they had a lot of questions. Color inside the lines that someone else drew. Pick the one right answer and stop giving 3 interesting ones. Stop daydreaming. Be real. And grow up already were all parts of it. It wasn't all bad. I want to be fair about that. A lot of it came from people who really cared about you, but were just repeating without thinking what other people had done to them when they were young, smart, and unpleasant. It wasn't meant badly. It was passed down. But the end result was the same no matter how well meant the goals were. People with minds that were naturally curious were taught to stay in their lane until they felt like they couldn't go any further. Until the big empty field felt like a dream you were too old to live out. Until you forgot you even owned it. And someone who loses something will never think to question who took it. Some people have called this the biggest, quietest theft ever. I agree with that. The theft wasn't a big deal with alarms going off and broken glass. It moved slowly, so gradually, and so a part of what everyone thought was normal that you thought the theft was just normal life. Now comes the part that should make you feel something. The way that honest anger can wake someone up. There are parts of the world that don't really want to help you find this power again. When your mind is cloudy, a little anxious, and quietly sure that it's just getting older, you buy things, follow the rules, and don't ask big, annoying questions. I'm not going to make this sound like a big plot where bad guys are meeting in a secret room. That wouldn't be honest. And lying is what put you to sleep in the first place. I only have one quiet, honest thing to say. No one is in a hurry to give you back the part of you that doesn't need them. You will have to come back and take that part back. No one gives you the key to a door they'd rather you forget about. It's time for a break because we've been talking about this a lot. Your mind needs a moment to just breathe. Please take note that you have been listening to this for some time now. As you listen, your body is in a certain place. Right now, whether you're aware of it or not, your breathing has a certain rhythm. That's not something you need to do. You don't need to let go or take something in. Just drop your shoulders by 1 inch. That's all. Just 1 inch. That's it. That little drop could be the most honest thing your body has done all day. Hold on for one more breath and then we'll go on. What comes next will change the whole story. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site. You are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give and it will be given to you is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose. Join the conversation and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today. Join our community and see what God brings back into your life. I asked you to stay because I want you to know something that most people don't know. The ability you had as a child was never lost. It was never taken off. It was put to sleep. And there is a big difference between something being gone and something not doing anything. That one difference holds the key to your whole future. There is no longer a field that was paved over with concrete. It's okay to be sad about it, but it can't grow anything. But a field that was only covered in snow over the winter is still there. It's not active. It is ready. The soil is still there, patient and whole, holding its breath under the white. It is still everything it was. It doesn't want to be rebuilt. It just wants the snow to melt. That thaw has been studied for decades by some people who have dedicated their whole lives to the task. Someone found something. They were led by a doctor in New York who has spent more than 20 years of his life looking into this question. When you first hear it, something so simple sounds almost fishy. This message will go on to show you exactly what they found. So stay with me. But for now, I want you to think about one question. What if the reason your mind feels dull isn't your age, your weakness, or a secret flaw in your character that you've been ashamed of for years? What if it's just sleeping? Also, what if it has been waiting all this time for the day you are ready to wake it up? Now, I want to talk gently to the part of you that has tried things before and been let down. I never want you to think that I don't understand how painful that is. You've done things. I know you have. You got the apps that have soothing voices while you slept. You listened to the songs that said they would change the way you think. You sat on the floor with your legs crossed and tried to clear your mind, but it wouldn't go away. You felt like someone who can't even rest properly. Not one of the things promised worked the way they were supposed to, so you made a secret choice in the dark. You thought the problem was with you and that these things just don't work for you. You thought that everyone else got the instructions, but you got a broken copy. Today, I don't want you to make that choice because it was never true. What would happen if the methods didn't fail because of something wrong with you? Could it be that they failed because they had the wrong goal the whole time? Most of the well-known tools out there try to transform your brain by changing just a small part of how it works. The man whose work I'm about to talk about would tell you in a kind and quiet way that this point of view was never the right one to begin with. As a child, what made you smart was never just one small part of something. It was like your whole mind was playing one smooth tune. Both halves are fully awake and talking to each other at the same time. Almost nothing that is being sold to you was ever made to make you whole again. You could buy tunes for one string, but the rest of the instrument was silent. You may have felt like the broken one in a room full of people who said these things would work for them for years. I want to free you from that today. You weren't the one who was broken. You were given tools that weren't complete and then quietly blamed for the result that wasn't complete. One person who really can't do something is very different from someone who was never given the right key to their own door. Here's the most important part. I want you to think of this next part as part of who you are, not just as information. You are not the type of person who has to work hard to make someone smart from scratch. You have to go home to the genius you were before. Those are two very different journeys that don't feel at all like each other. There is a hill, doubt, and loneliness. The long way up to becoming someone you've never been before. The other is a homecoming, and all it asks of you is that you stop thinking the door is locked. You don't have to work hard to get back into a house where your name is already carved into the fireplace. You just need to walk the path you remember. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our COF community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself. Jesus says, this is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. Let me tell you about a woman in Manhattan. I won't go into too much detail because I care more about her privacy than making a point. Like some families do with heirlooms. Her family told a story from one generation to the next. They were born under a bad sign. So the story went that at the end it didn't matter how hard they worked. Something would always take it all away. While he should have been getting a reward for all his hard work after 20 years at the same company, her dad lost almost everything. So she grew up sure that the limit over her family was real, set in stone, and would never change. She wasn't even mad about it anymore. She had just learned to live under it like how you learn to duck through a low doorway in your own home. It wasn't a sudden turn of events that made things better for her. That wasn't it. It was rather quiet and strange. She talked about feeling a sense of clarity slowly coming back to her. Ideas came at just the right times when there had been only fog and struggle before. Her shoulders were slowly becoming lighter after a weight she had been carrying for so long that she had forgotten about it. One day she realized she had just stopped thinking about the family sentence over and over again. The curse, which is what she had always called it, was never a spiritual woe from God. It had been a mind that wasn't using even a small part of its full potential because it thought its own weakness was destiny. As soon as things got brighter, the curse could no longer protect itself. Then what did change for her? There is something real with a name and a history behind it. Not magic or finally good luck. Now I'm going to show you a piece of science that won the highest award in its field. Dr. Roger Sperry won the Nobel Prize for showing that the two halves of your brain are really two separate minds living in one skull, and that when they are fully linked and working together, the whole mind works in a way that neither half can when they are working alone. Let me tell you how strong that is. This isn't a crazy idea that was talked about behind closed doors. This is the Nobel Prize. Two parts of the brain that are made to work together. When they do, the lights from your childhood that you thought were out for good come back on one room at a time. The people who study this point out the parts that we all secretly like. The person who comes up with ideas and can picture the whole thing perfectly in their mind before they even start building it. The performer who gets up in front of 80,000 people and talks about how time seems to be slowing down around her. The mind that solves an impossible problem in a flash as if it were given to them instead of earned. As if it came from somewhere outside of them. They know what that state is called and have studied it well. They found something that should change the way you see yourself. That state isn't something that only a few lucky people can get. That's how brains naturally work when they work together. The skill itself was never what made it rare. The rare part is getting to it. Most people just got lost and couldn't find their way back to the room they were born in. Think about the people we think are smart. Some people like Nikola Tesla said they could see their inventions running in their minds before they ever used a tool. A person like Steve Jobs could understand everything about something at once, from how it works to how it looks to how it feels. He could make something that the world had never seen before. A performer who can stand in front of a loud stadium and still feel calm, present, and like herself. We think they were born with something that the rest of us didn't have. This idea, however, was proven wrong, and it stuck with me for a long time after I heard it. Your true potential is probably higher than that of people who everyone thinks are brilliant. Even higher than some well-known names you would never think to compare yourself to. There was never a gap in the gift between you and them. It was a hole in getting the gift. They left a door open and the rest of us were taught to shut it quietly. A door that is closed is not the same as having no door at all. The first time I heard any of this, I had the same doubts you may be having now. It sounded too cool, too easy, and too good to be true. So I did what any sane, if a little skeptical person would do. I looked for the science behind it, fully expecting to find nothing but smoke. I found a Nobel Prize at the bottom of it instead. And that one fact made the whole question different for me. Is this real? Was no longer a question. And it became even more pressing. If the mechanism behind this is this well established, this proven, this honored, then why on earth has almost no one built a simple way for an ordinary, busy, tired person to actually use it at home? A small group of neuroscientists set out to answer that exact question. They worked late into the night in the lab, led by New York neurologist Dr. Daniel Barron, to make something that used to need an hour of clinical brain synchronization. Something that a normal person could use in just 8 minutes a day. It's called the cheek switch. And I want to make it clear what it is and isn't. Being clear is a sign of honesty. And you've already been lied to enough. There isn't just one small part of the brain that is pushed by this track. The app doesn't ask you to empty your mind, which is impossible. It is not a $7 Darren machine in a clinic across the country that you can't afford to go to. It is something quieter and more interesting than all of those in its own way. It is a carefully planned series of sounds that are meant to help your brain's two halves connect again, just like they did when you were a child. The exact same kind of activation of the whole brain that Dr. Sperry won the Nobel Prize for writing about. That's what you do. You shut your eyes after 8 minutes. You do nothing else. There are no mantras to learn. Do not try to force. You don't have to make discipline appear out of thin air when you can barely stand up in the morning. In the end, it works below the level of your effort, which was the whole point, since effort was never what you were missing. The wiring was just waiting to be shown how it used to work. I'm now going to talk about that. A part that everyone wants to skip over but is afraid to ask about the price. Other people that Dr. Barron works with told him that this kind of tool might be worth $500. And considering that an hour with a neurofeedback specialist can cost $300 and a machine for your own home can cost up to $7,000. That price was not at all out of line. He didn't set the price at $500 though. He didn't set the price at $200 or even $100. It was priced at $49 by his team. A lot less than a third of the original price and a small part of what the other options cost. Just that would have been kind. Then, since you've read this far and are clearly not just a random visitor who stopped by and will leave again, there is another discount available through the page his team made. It drops the price to $39. Those are the exact prices, less than many people spend on a single dinner that they'll forget by the weekend, that you can get a tool that works on your mind, which affects everything else in your life, and it doesn't come by itself. 4 things that the team includes for no extra cost are bundled with it. The first is a guided visualization from the creator that will help you picture how your life will go in the areas that are most important to people. Money, health, and a kind of peace that has been hard to find. The second is a simple grocery list that tells you what everyday foods feed the fog we've been talking about, and how to save more than $100 a month on things you already buy without even realizing it. The third is an old book, more than 100 years, that many people think is the source from which almost all modern teachings on attracting abundance grew. And the fourth is a single page that you can print out that lists the few daily habits that more than almost anything else quietly shape the future you will live in. There is also a full no questions asked money back guarantee sitting under all of it. This is what should finally loosen the knot in your stomach. Put it on for 8 minutes. Listen for 8 hours over the next few weeks. Anything that doesn't change or wake you up is enough to get your money back, and you'll get it all back. In other words, this was never really a purchase if you are being honest. It was a down payment, an advanced payment that you can take back at any time. There is only one real risk here, and that is the small but scary chance that it will work and you will finally have to face the version of yourself you have been avoiding for years. One more thing, and I'm only telling you this because I'm being honest. You can find tracks online if you look for something like this in the search bars and streaming apps in the usual places. In fact, a lot of them. His team took a close look at many of these and found some very disturbing things. Most of them didn't have any of the actual sequence inside. They were just given that name to get clicks and advertising money. Nothing else. It took years of careful work to make the real sequence. And you can only see it on the team's page. There is a reason why it has stayed where it is and not spread out into the noise. And he says that reason much better than I could. Some part of you might want to know what 8 minutes a day for 2 normal weeks could really do for you. The link that comes with this message will take you to where his team made it available. You don't need any tools, pills, or discipline to make something happen. 8 minutes with headphones on and eyes closed. That's how heavy it is altogether. Before this message ends, I want to say something over your life that I think will stay with you long after today is over. You should stick with me until the end because the words I will speak over you at the end are the real reason this message was sent to you in the first place. Yes, I know you still have some valid concerns and I would much rather hear them out loud than act like they are not there with us. I understand the first one is simple. 139 is real money. And for some of you listening, it's not nothing. To get to that number, you might need to think about it and move something else around. Not being honest with you will not be an insult to me. Take a moment to think about the difference between the two prices. 300 for an hour with a specialist and 70 for the machine. This was cut in half on purpose by Dr. Barron so that someone who could never fly to a New York office could still get there in some other way. You can get your money back in full if the genius switch doesn't make you feel anything. That's about as risk-free as real life gets. The second argument is the one I agree with the most. That voice inside you that says, "This sounds too good to be true, and I've been burned before." Okay, don't change your voice. Do not turn it off. You should never feel bad about having a healthy suspicion because it has kept you safe in the past and will continue to do so in the future. But make sure you point it in the right direction. When you get all the way to the bottom of the mechanism, it's a Nobel Prize. Just point it straight at it. People who doubt may ask, can something so simple really matter this much? This is a valid doubt. And the guarantee is there to protect you from having to settle that doubt with your wallet. You can settle it on your own time and with your own direct experience. Your money will be kept safe until you make your choice. And finally, there is the quiet objection, which means I just don't have time. I want to be kind and honest with you right now. 8 minutes is all there is to it. While the coffee is brewing in the morning, the tub fills slowly in the car in the parking lot or just before you walk into a building you don't want to go into. There is a moment of silence. If we're being honest, most of us can find 8 minutes that we waste every day scrolling through things we won't even remember by tonight. Since the time isn't really there, I'd suggest that the real problem was never time in the first place. It was permission. And I can help you give it to yourself right now, unlike time. And there is one true thing I will say about waiting. After that, I will leave it alone because I don't want to scare you into doing anything. Your mind keeps working at a fraction of what it was made for every week that goes by. That's not a threat. It's just math. The field stays covered in snow as long as no one goes outside to start melting it. Waiting doesn't get you in trouble. For a little longer, there is only more of the same fog, and your homecoming will wait patiently until the week you decide you are ready. That week might be this one. It's not required, but it might be. For the last part of this, I'm going to slow everything down because what's coming next is neither information nor a pitch. It's what I promised you from the very beginning. You read a long message while 100 easier and lighter things were calling your name the whole time. That's the first thing I want you to notice. You stayed until now. That's not a little thing. Don't let anyone, not even yourself, tell you that it is. The stubborn flame that has kept you reaching for more, even during the years when nothing seemed to answer, is what kept you going. Inside you, this is what you never really agreed with the verdict, even when you said it out loud. I'm very thankful that you have that flame inside you, and I think heaven is too. And I want to say it out loud right now before I send you back into your week. Lay down for a moment the heavy thought you've been carrying around with you and the silent judgment you made about yourself a while ago. The story that says you're less fast, less strong, past your best, and on the long way down. You don't even have to argue with that story. You get stuck in it when you argue. You only need to put it on the ground in front of you and stop holding it for 1 minute. Just leave it on the floor. You can pick it up again later if you really want to. But in these last moments with each other, let your hands be empty like a child's hands are when they are open and ready to play. Now listen to this, because I don't think I'm the only one speaking. What I think is being said to you is coming from someone who has seen this whole long story from the beginning. As a child, they saw the open field. As an adult, they watched each room as the lights went out and grieved with you for each one. Even on the days you blamed yourself in the dark, I didn't bring you this far just to leave you here. The fog never told the truth about you. The darkness was never really the ceiling of you. The things you remember from your childhood were not just sweet dreams that you outgrew and now feel bad about missing. For one hard season, it was a sneak peek of exactly what you were made for. It was kept safe in the ground under the snow, waiting for the day you would finally be ready to come and claim it as your own. It doesn't matter if that day is today, the next morning, or a normal Tuesday a few weeks from now when you least expect it. Hear me clearly. It's the same door. It's not moving. It doesn't run out. Along with that, it has never been locked in all these years. You're not someone who is trying to be extraordinary. For the first time in a long time, you remember that you were already being that person. You're not behind. It's not too late. You have never been or are now the broken person in the room. It was with care that you put your mind to sleep. And this week it is being gently snapped awake. The calling also doesn't end today. Know that this week the calling is just louder than usual. Not because the sky moved, but because finally, after all this time, something inside you turned its head to listen. People just like you are feeling this strange stirring right now. All over the world, in cities and quiet rooms alike. They can't find the words to explain it to anyone. You're not the only one going through this. You were never that. This message should be sent to anyone who comes to mind right now. Someone who has been unusually quiet lately, or who keeps saying sorry for something. That's one reason why you were picked, to not only get home on your own, but also to leave the door open for the next person. Remember what I said about the genius switch? It's not a trick, a gimmick, or a way to get around doing something real or earned. It's 8 minutes of sound that does for your mind what your mind used to do when you were young and had the whole field to yourself. You were made for more than the narrow life you have been bracing your way through. If you ever felt that way, even if it was just for an afternoon, this is a quiet, honest way to start the long walk back toward it. Yes, the link is there, ready for you whenever you are. There is no hurry in heaven, and there is no hurry here either. Take this in right now and let it sink in deep inside you. You're now awake. The week ahead of you is not a trap that knows your name and is ready to catch you. You are slowly but surely remembering how to run in that open field the way you used to. Anything that today has will not be able to hold the old verdict over your head because you put it down here with me and then walked away from its shadow. Take these words with you and let them work while you're alone. The fog clears and the mind goes back to where it belongs. The person who was picked wakes up. You were made by someone who saw the lights go out in that big house one room at a time, but always knew exactly what you were made for. That person is reaching out this week to turn the lights back on, starting with you. It's done. That's how it is. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary where we discuss the word daily and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry. When Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." On this platform, every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall, share your heart, and as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit our community now. Join the family and see your heavens open. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment. A place where divine abundance is not just a hope but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided ebooks and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits.